Hello, welcome. I'm Mike. My call sign is KG4VDK. I'm currently a general class operator. I got licensed as a technician in 2002 and I upgraded to general in 2020. Um, Life in college got in the way somewhere between 2002 and then. But once I got my general and started playing with HF, I really wanted to get into digital modes. Um, I'm a systems engineer, Red Hat Linux certified sysadmin. I've been using Linux primarily since 2007. It's been my sole operating system. Um, and I decided that I wanted to build an operating system that made digital modes easy for me, but it could also be used by other people that might be new to this, interested in digital modes, not familiar with Linux particularly. Um, but I wanted to build something that made getting into this as easy as possible and removed as many friction points as possible. And so arcOS, the Amateur Radio Community Operating System, is the project that I've been working on. It is a live Linux-based operating system that's installed on a USB drive. By installing on a USB drive, we don't have to worry about installing this on the hard drive of a computer and then being forced to maintain that system or overriding if you maybe are running Windows currently. If you don't want to install another operating system instead of Windows or deal with dual booting, arcOS is on a USB as a live system, and so you can just boot from the USB, and once you're in that system, normally a live operating system, there are no ways to save any changes. Nothing will survive a reboot. arcOS is different. The first time you boot into arcOS, you've installed it on your USB drive, and when you boot it, the free space remaining on the USB drive is configured as persistent storage. And so some things in arcOS can be saved to persistent storage. That way you can change configurations and have them work after a reboot. But system level things don't persist. So you can explore learning how to use a Linux operating system. You can have all the kind of fun and adventuresome escapades that you'd like to have. And if you break something, it's not broken. You can just reboot it. The live operating system is what boots back, and you're presented with arcOS as it was before you did whatever it was that you did that might have broken it. And so it allows for a sandbox type environment for newer or inexperienced users to be able to experiment in and not worry about breaking a working system. Getting everything configured is one of the harder parts for new operators when it comes to digital modes. You've got to get a computer working with an interface, working with a radio, and that can be daunting. arcOS strives to make that work out of the box. By standardizing on the DigiRig as our computer to radio interface, anything that can talk to a DigiRig works in arcOS. So if you've got a handheld, or you've got an HF radio or a mobile radio, all of those will work with the right DigiRig cable between the DigiRig and the radio. And I've got mine here for the FT65. And then a USB-C cable to connect the DigiRig to the computer. That's all you need, and you can be on the air. arcOS supports some fundamental applications in the ham radio world. Those being Direwolf as a packet modem, RDOP as a modem for WinLink, PAT as a WinLink client, YAC as an APRS client, the FL Digi, FL Amp, FL Message suite, to include FL Rig. We'll get into that in just a minute. WSJTX for FT8 and JS8 call. HamRS for logging is also included. Not included, VARA. Might be a sticking point for some. It's not included. It's not open source. It's got no Linux candidate. And I think, in my opinion, it violates the spirit of the amateur radio community by not being open source and not being something that we can all work with, learn from, and iterate on. So it will not be included. There, that's out of the way. Cat control. Cat control is not configured out of the box. FLRig is included. Hamlib is included. So if you want to configure cat control for your rig, you may do so. I don't support that. I have personal reasons. I genuinely enjoy operating the physical radio. I don't like controlling my radio with software. I like handling that. Two, anytime there's RFI in the shack or common mode on anything, USB cables specifically, if you've noticed, my USB cable has ferrite beads on it to try to mitigate what I can. But often, if you have RFI issues, one of the first things that goes offline is cat control. And my goal is to provide a reliable system, not necessarily the most bells and whistles convenient system. I don't think it's that hard to just manually operate a VFO knob and get on the frequency I need to get the radio in the mode that I need to get it into. And it saves me the headache of having it go offline if something goes weird. arcOS uses a modular system to provide updates and features and some of that persistence. So each of those applications that I mentioned, PAT, YAC, FL Suite, the WSJTX, JS8 call, they each have a module that allows for files that those applications interact with to be saved on persistent storage. So if you use PAT to check your WinLink email and you have a new message, it goes into your inbox. That inbox, all of your mailboxes are linked to persistent storage. So every time you boot into arcOS, you have your WinLink mailbox there with you. Offline maps in YAC, once you download offline maps, those are saved to persistent storage. Configurations, if you use FLDigi, boot into arcOS, use FLDigi, it's working out of the box, but you want to write some new macros, you want to do something else with that configuration. Maybe you just want to change the colors of the background for the transmit receive window to make it easier for your eyes to read. You can change that, and then in the module there's a save script that will save those configurations to your persistent storage, so that when you boot back into arcOS, that is the FLDigi configuration that will load, the one that you saved. So configurations, customizations, that sort of thing. And then also, because they're GitHub based modules, you'll be alerted if there's an update. I might have fixed something that was broken, added a new feature, or maybe just documented something better. But you'll be alerted that there's a module update available, so you can pull that down and then just reboot, and you're up and running with the new, updated, hopefully more stable modules. And that's what I'm shooting for here, is something for new users that is stable, something that's simple, it's portable, it's reliable, something that you can depend on to work every single time, but you can also explore, play, experiment with friends and maybe club members, or just by yourself. Go do POTA and go have fun with it. But you don't have to worry about maintaining and keeping up to date with an entire Linux operating system. It's just a live operating system with persistent storage. So if that's something you're interested in, getting into digital radio and wanting an easy way to do it, here is all you need. One, you need a little thumb drive. I recommend, I'd say 16 gigabytes at least, but that's kind of hard to come by these days. Last time I bought some of the smallest one I could get in this one, the Samsung Fit, was 64 gigabytes is the smallest one that I could get. You'll need a DigiRig. You'll need a USB-C cable to connect it to your computer. You'll need a cable to run from the DigiRig to your radio, and you will need a radio. I'm going to be using this laptop as the machine that I'm going to put this on right now. So to get started, we'll go over to the arcOS website. We'll download a copy of arcOS and we'll get it installed on a USB. So let's go do that. All right, so to get started with installing arcOS, first we need to go to the website. So arcOS-linux.com, arcOS-linux.com. That's where you need to go. And when you get there, you'll be presented really quickly with a Get arcOS Now button. So click on that. You've got a couple options. You can do it yourself, download the ISO and write it to the USB image, or if you're feeling a little bit out of your element or just want to be kind and make a donation, $50 donation, and I will mail you a preloaded arcOS USB configured for your call sign and ready to go right out of the box for you. But if you want to just click on download arcOS ISO, go ahead and start downloading that. And then once you've got it, all we need to do is we've got our ISO here. So we can, if I'm in Linux Mint 21.3 right now, but no matter whether you're on Windows, Mac, or Linux, here's what we can use. The Raspberry Pi imaging tool. So what we want to do is choose the operating system. If you scroll all the way to the bottom of this, you'll have use a custom image from your computer. So we'll go to my desktop, that's where it lives. We'll point it to that ISO, so we'll see that it's here now. And then I want to choose storage. Right now I don't have anything plugged in, so let me plug in a USB device. It shows up here. It's one that already has arcOS on it, but I'm going to overwrite that, so not a big deal. But that's a 64 gigabyte thumb drive. Ask me if I'm sure I want to do that. Yeah, I know everything on it. It's going to get erased, so we'll go ahead and start. It'll ask me for my password. And then we'll go ahead and write that to the USB drive. Once that's finished, get booted up on a laptop and get it on the air. But this video is just going to cover getting it written to the ISO, or I'm getting the ISO written to the USB drive, and then we'll do another video to show you how to get up and running and start actually getting on the air with it. This shouldn't take too long, usually a couple minutes. So we'll just let that finish, and then as soon as it's done, we're ready to go try it. Alright, it's finished writing it to the USB. It's just doing a final verification. We'll let that finish up, and then we're done. That's little girl cat. She's helping me this evening. Alright, we're finished writing that to our USB drive, so we can remove that from the system. Again, I use this Samsung Fit. I add some orange tape to it because it's tiny and I drop things, and it's a whole lot easier to find an orange guy in the grass than it is to find a gray one in the grass. So think about that when you get your USB, and put a little piece of paracord or something on there, little orange tag, just so you got something that helps you find it if you drop it. That's something I've run into. So that's arcOS installed on a USB, and we'll do another video to show you how to get up and running. Thanks for joining, and we'll catch you on the air soon.